Hey guys, today the lesson we're doing is titled Run to Jesus. And I referenced last week's lesson just a little bit, so the lesson before this one definitely needs to be done first because this kind of goes in with that one. But it's called Run to Jesus. We're going to go through the lesson and then we're going to go outside and show you a little bit of the game that we're going to play that goes in. It's a review game. So I'm just going to go right into it here. And this one says, last week we talked about Peter. Do you remember what Jesus told Peter he would do before the rooster crows the next morning? Do you know what Peter did before the rooster crowed the next morning?
He denied Jesus 3 times.
Very good. Jesus told Peter he would deny him 3 times. Jesus was then arrested and brought before the high priest. Those were the religious leaders. They were trying to make Jesus look like he was a liar, and they wanted to have him killed. Peter was watching as they called Jesus a liar, spit on him, and slapped him. The Bible tells us what happened in Luke chapter 22, verse 55 through 62. After they had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, Peter was sitting among them. And a servant girl seized him as he sat in the firelight and looked intently at him and said, "These are the men that were with him too." But he denied it, saying, "Woman, I don't know him." A little later, another saw him and said, You're one of them too." And Peter said, "Man, I do not know what you are talking about." And immediately while he was still speaking, a rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked at Peter, and Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he told him, "Before the rooster crows today, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly. Now that was a huge mistake. Peter's best friend, who just happened to be Jesus made flesh, was about to be killed. This is a time when a friend should stick by him and be there for him. However, Peter blew it. He promised Jesus he would do anything for him. Peter had just told him the day before that he would die, and the next morning he had already broken that promise big time. Things got hard and he panicked, and he denied even knowing who Jesus was. After Jesus had looked at him, guilt came over him and he wept bitterly. And that means that he cried so hard and he could not bear what he had done. I imagine that Peter thought Jesus would never forgive him for that mistake. If you made a mistake that big, it would be easy to carry the guilt and the shame of that mess up forever. A huge mistake can consume your thoughts and make you feel regret. Many people may say, well, he should feel bad. How could he do that to Jesus? I love when Jesus raises from the dead, immediately the focus was put on Peter. When Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, came to the tomb where Jesus was buried, this is what happened. So Mark, this is after Jesus has already been buried for 3 days. Remember what happened after Jesus died and was buried. Then what happened? He rose from the dead. Very good. So Mark 16, verse 5 through 7 says, "Entering the tomb, they saw a young man sitting at the right, wearing a white robe, and they were amazed. And he said to them, 'Do not be amazed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. Behold, is this place where you laid him? But go, tell the disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you.'" Tell the disciples and Peter. Why do you think that he would say and Peter? Why wouldn't he just go say tell the disciples? Peter was one of the disciples. I think by saying his name, it made Peter feel wanted. Imagine there was a party that somebody wanted you to go to, and you're with a group of about 11, 12 people, and somebody said, "Hey, Bob wants you to come to the party." They're telling the whole group, but they looked to you and said, "But hey, Layla and Sophia, Bob wants you to know to come." If you were pointed out in that whole group of people, how would that make you feel?
That would make me feel like I really needed to go.
Yeah, like he really wanted you there. Why would he tell them to say your name in particular to a big group of people? Obviously, that person would want you to be there. Well, I feel like that's what happened in this situation. I believe that's why Jesus made sure the angel said, "and Peter." He wanted to be sure Peter knew that he wanted him there. We also know that Jesus appeared to Peter because in Luke chapter 24, verse 34, it says, The Lord has really risen and has appeared to Simon, that was also another name for Peter. So Jesus actually saw Peter personally after he rose from the dead. It doesn't give us the details of what happened whenever he appeared to Peter, but by the way that Peter reacted the next time he saw Jesus, it leads me to believe that Jesus made Peter feel loved and accepted, despite the fact Peter made a huge mistake. Let's look at the story, and you tell me what you think. Peter decided to go fishing, and the other disciples went with him. So they were out fishing, and it was getting late. John chapter 21, verses 4 through 8 says, Jesus stood on the beach, yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. So Jesus said to them, Children, you do not have any fish, do you? They answered to him, No. And he said to them, Cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find a catch. So they cast, and then they were not able to haul it in because it was such a great number of fish. Before the disciple whom Jesus loved, do y'all remember who the disciple whom Jesus loved is?
John.
Very good. It's John. The disciple whom Jesus loved said, So when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put his outer garments on and threw himself into the sea. But the other disciples came in the little boat, for they were not far from the land, but about 100 yards away, dragging the net of fish. So Peter threw himself into the sea and he rushed to Jesus. When Jesus appeared to Peter earlier, if he had been angry at Peter or told Peter how bad he messed up, do you think Peter would have reacted that way?
No.
No, not at all. If somebody's mad at you, you don't want to jump out of a boat to get to him. He couldn't even wait to go in with the rest of them. He had to run and get to Jesus as fast as he could. If Peter was so excited to see Jesus that he jumped and rushed into the water, that tells us that he felt so loved and so accepted by Jesus that he could not wait to get to him. The other disciples got on a small boat and came in as a normal person would. Peter couldn't wait. God wants you to see this story and know that even when you mess up, even whenever you mess up really, really bad, he doesn't want you to feel guilt and shame and stay away from him. He wants you to know that he loves you and accepts you. He always loves you and accepts you, and you can always run to him, just like Peter. You don't feel like you can come to Jesus sometimes when you make a mistake, but the truth is that spending time with Jesus is the only way for those horrible feelings, that guilt and shame and condemnation, to go away. His perfect love for you is stronger than any mistake you could ever make. And be like Peter and run to Jesus and his amazing love. The end. All right, wait. So outside there's 20 of these, which they look like this. They have a Jesus on it with a pencil taped to the back, and it's covered. Now these are stuck in the ground, and I'm going to be asking them questions. You probably can't see this, but this is just an example. It says, how many times did Peter deny Jesus? And when they answer the question, they're going to try to find the matching Jesus to the cross. So I'm going to be holding this, and once they answer, they'll take turns. And once they answer the question correctly, they're going to race throughout the yard to try to find the one that matches to this. Huge warning with this. Please do not have kids pull this out of the ground and run back with it. They leave this in the ground and they get the card that you're holding, because it would be extremely dangerous to have kids run with pencils, obviously. So once they find the match, then they get the card. The person with the most cards at the end of the game wins. And I'm going to do a little video of them playing just so you guys can get the idea of that. But this is just a fun review game that I came up with, so let's head outside. Okay, as you can see here, I have a lot of these little white things sticking up in the yard here. Those are all of our Jesus. They're going to run to Jesus when they figure out, once they answer the question, they're going to see the color, and then they're going to go try to find the matching color to the one that I have in my hand. We have a total of 20 of these, so I don't think I'm going to do the whole thing on video, but I'm going to do a couple questions on video so you guys can get an idea of how we play it and how much fun it is, right, Sophie?
Right.
Are you ready for this?
Yep. Yeah.
Everybody ready? Question number 1. Who's going to go first? Let's let Layla go first, because I don't know if this question will be a little bit harder. Okay, question number 1 is, why was Jesus arrested?
Because he said he was the Son of God.
Yes, and because he said he was the Son of God, what was about to happen?
He was going to get crucified.
Yes, good job, Layla. All right, this one is orange with blue stripies.
Do I get to go?
Yes, you both go. You're racing to find it. Go. Whoever finds orange with blue stripes first. Remember to leave those in the ground. It's a nice little workout too. It's hot out here. Good job, Layla.
Where's my stick?
Question number 2. Who was watching while Jesus was being called a liar, slapped, and spit on?
Peter.
Peter, good job. All right, this one is kind of like a, y'all can look at it. It's kind of like a grayish purple color. All right, go. Make sure you put the paper back down when you're done so they're not showing.
Wait, red, purplish color?
Yeah, like a light. Let me see. She didn't have it. Keep looking.
Can I see it again?
Oh, it's okay.
And there's 2.
After Peter denied Jesus, Layla, he blank bitterly.
Cried.
Very good. And this is red. Go. Uh-oh. I feel like they both have a clue. Is it bright red?
Found it.
Oh, good job. It's all right, Sophie. You're doing good.
I got it! Yay!
Here you go,
That
Layla.
was just luck.
It's all right. You're doing good. You're being a good sport. And Layla beat Sophie by 2, but they both get a treat to cool them down. So make sure to
Subscribe, like, and follow our videos.
That's right. Bye, guys.
Bye.